We suggest you pause this video often. It helps to study the slides.
At this point, we are going to talk about cervical mucus. Observation of cervical mucus is important because it is the best way to know what is happening with your reproductive system. Observation of cervical mucus helps you know what phase and stage of the cycle you are in, which in turn lets you know whether you are fertile or infertile. Knowing when fertility and ovulation occur will help you always be prepared for your period, as menstruation is completely dependent upon ovulation. There are several types of cervical mucus, each with different names and specific properties like thickness, color, and viscosity. When you learn about cervical mucus and understand the different sensations it produces throughout your cycle, you can know when you are infertile, pinpoint your fertile window, and always know when to expect your period. Cervical mucus is a hydrogel, most often consisting of 90 to 95% water and other constituents. A hydrogel is a polymer with certain properties that allow it to hold a lot of water while still maintaining a three-dimensional shape. Jello is an example of a hydrogel. The water content of this cervical hydrogel rises to 98 to 99% just prior to ovulation on the peak day. This accounts for the wet and slippery sensations during the fertile time. The mucous membrane lining the inside of the cervix contains fissures called crypts, and the glands in these crypts secrete cervical mucus. The ovarian hormone estrogen from the developing follicle in the ovary regulates the secretion of mucus. There are two main types of cervical mucus. Estrogenic mucus, or G mucus, is present in the infertile phases of the cycle. Estrogenic mucus is secreted under estrogen stimulation. Estrogenic cervical mucus is a mixture of three mucus subtypes, each of which has a different viscosity, and they are present in the fertile phase of the cycle. When viewed under a microscope, dried estrogenic mucus forms crystal-like patterns that look like ferns and flowers. G mucus is a high-viscosity elastic stopper, and it forms a plug in the cervical canal, which acts as a natural barrier to sperm. G mucus fills the cervical canal during the menstrual cycle, except during the fertile time and menstruation. Usually, no sensation at the vulva is associated with G mucus, and the days are dry to damp during the infertile time. G mucus fills the cervical canal shortly after menstruation and again after ovulation, acting as a barrier to sperm between the vagina and the body of the uterus. G mucus contains antimicrobial agents which protect upper genital organs. When a woman has an IUD in place, the string that hangs out of the cervix disrupts this mucus barrier and can make a woman more susceptible to infections. The three types of estrogenic mucuses act together to facilitate healthy male sperm to enter the uterus and travel up the fallopian tubes, where one sperm may fertilize the ovum, which has been released from the ovary, and is traveling down the fallopian tube. The estrogenic mucuses do this by first providing swimming canals through the G mucus plug and then dissolving the G mucus plug. They nourish the sperm and store sperm in the cervical crypts, enabling the sperm to survive for up to 5 days. The sperm would die within 30 minutes without the estrogenic mucus. The estrogenic mucuses each have a higher percentage of water than G mucus. As the developing follicle in the ovary grows, it secretes more estrogen, signaling the crypts to produce more and more watery mucus. As estrogen rises, this increased mucus production results in increasing sensations of moisture at the vulva through the peak day, when the sensation is slippery. The slippery sensation can last a few days, even if the woman does not see anything. It should also be noted that oral contraceptives, which are synthetic steroids, double the functional rate of aging of the cervix. That is, if a woman begins oral contraceptives at 16, then stops taking them at 26 in order to become pregnant, she may have the cervix of a 36-year-old woman. Oral contraceptives may compromise a woman's ability to later achieve pregnancy and they can accelerate premenopause. The woman's reproductive system is ingenious and wonderfully complex. Unfortunately, far too many women go through a lifetime never understanding their bodies and sensations.